He is quite tall.
We are back once again. Nerdly Out Loud, Nerdly TV, nerdly.co.uk, still inside Romford. Romford, it's still awesome to be deep inside you. And we are doing another online chat, another live chat with director Oliver Guy Watkins and actor James Payton in there. We're going to be talking a little bit about Bessie May and a little bit about you guys because I've not had a chance to speak to you yet.
You're speaking very well to the plant.
This tree is right in my face.
Well, how does this work? Are there like I'm old, so are there two cameras at the same time?
There's two cameras at the same time. I'm down in the bottom corner. You guys are the main focus. And anybody who is watching, when they go on, they can put a comment on Facebook or YouTube. It'll pop up. So if anybody wants to ask a question, they absolutely can.
Okay.
We'll just see how it goes, really.
So do we have to not say certain things?
Say whatever you want. This is your.
Anything.
This is your chat, so we'll just get into that. But first of all, again, I've just done the Q&A with you Oliver downstairs, and again, I wanted to thank you because I actually really dug your documentary, Bessie May. I thought it was a very interesting take, and I loved the way you did it because it did feel very personal in the way, like the long takes and watching these people getting all the construction built and everything. But again, can you tell people who weren't downstairs, which there was a few that weren't downstairs, how you came to make a documentary about laughing?
Well, so as I was downstairs, I knew Nicole, and she worked in the film industry, making specialist costumes, and she had told me about what she did LARPing wise. For those who don't know, LARPing is live action role play. And Nicole, I was very interested in what she did. And it sounded really interesting, mainly because of the idea that I was trying to explain this downstairs. It felt maybe a little easier to explain then. I don't know, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But it's gone. It's already over the cliff. We're already over the cliff. It felt like what they did was a way for people involved in LARP to take their anxieties, their fears in real life, the mundanity of real life, and become a character that could protect them from all these things or build their fantasy, their ideal situation in a landscape that was constructed to be something that, again, protected them. Like, for want of a better phrase, because this gets used way too much, but it's a safe space. And it's a safe space which has infinite possibilities, wherever your mind will take you. And I think that was incredibly interesting to me.
And you decided to do this and to delve into this world at the best possible time. During COVID, during lockdowns, when nobody can be with each other, let's do a LARPing movie.
Yeah, really great idea, wasn't it?
I did want to ask about that because you mentioned it during the Q&A, and I didn't really get embellish on it a little bit. But you were saying that you weren't on like physically there, and you were doing this over the mobile and kind of thing. How does that even work? Directing a movie over your phone?
When I first worked with James, I think it was in film, as in making a film together. I think that was probably 2011 or 2012. And at the same time, I started working with a cameraman called John Schofield in different ways at that point. And then in 2014, John and me shot our first film together, short. And that is now nearly 10 years. And the reality is that when you work with someone that long, you have a shorthand. And we've talked about this before. So I trust John. And also, things that are very important with me and John. We grew up in the same area, 10 years apart, but we grew up in the same area. And I think the way, which is around the Cotswolds, and I think the way the light is there, the way certain things happen, pace of life or various things, they're attractive to us because of the environments that we grew up in. So I think because of that, I can trust that I say to him, this is what I would like to see, and he'll go and shoot it. So I don't need to worry about the detail. The devil's not in that side of things. The devil is in the, okay, John, how are we going to pull this? What are we going to, like, okay, I haven't got enough. Focus on the kids. I think I said this earlier, like, or focus on this aspect of it, or stop looking at Nicole for tomorrow and just look at Chris and see what happens, or, you know. So I think that was how we played that side of things. And then literally, as I was saying just now, the side where Nicole is in the lark, we literally had a phone that was, I was on FaceTime on top of the camera, and John would film it, and I would be directing via the phone on the camera. So yeah, it was an experience, but yeah.
Are you hoping to maybe embellish on this at all? And you said about putting like an end credit scene of some proper LARPing. Could you see yourself going down that road and maybe doing a feature of an actual reenactment or a LARP? Sorry.
Yeah, good question. I don't know. This is a nice segue. Is that the right word? Segue, something like that. Into the fact that I would like to make a sequel to the film I made about James a few years ago, and we have talked about that recently.
It's not what Space right now is saying.
Yeah, I don't think he would like it very much.
I'm always up for it.
But our lives have moved on in many different ways since that film was made. And it's nice to be sat in this space, and James has come to support this film with me today, which is something I'm incredibly grateful for.
I always think.
Yeah, I think it's nice to see the mirror of us being sat here 3 years ago. 3 years ago now. 2 years?
Yeah.
3 years. And talking about the film that it's actually also the film that I made with you was probably the one that broke the back of me being a filmmaker autonomously, which was really nice. So, but that journey since for both of us has been quite big, and I think it would be nice to dive back into that.
Yeah.
With the LARPing project, I don't necessarily have that same situation. Maybe this is nice. To sit as an entity.
You kind of said during our Q&A, and we won't go into it again, but it's sort of like you said that was a deeply personal experience for you. There was a lot of emotions at the time and everything. I think maybe just leave that as it is. It's a nice, peaceful piece for you to look back at and really, really feel. You know?
I have, and the thing is, for me, I've just made a new film, and actually Spencer just pointed out to me that I hadn't ever talked about this film to him.
Yeah.
So I am going to unashamedly say, I can't even say that I have just made a new film, which is just before I came here, I was in a sound studio recording with a live jazz band for the score over this, and it is a film called Being Herman Tegata. It's incredibly important to me because that's people that we set and set in many ways over the last year or so. At the same time as giving something back to them, it has also elevated my level of filmmaking and given me some confidence back that I've lost recently, and allowed me to realize what I want to do, what I want to say. And so it's very important in that sense for me where I am now with that film.
And as I said before, I've never had a chance to speak to you guys last time. You were here with James Payton. I had watched it, but I wasn't physically here for that one. How did this friendship come about? How did this relationship come about with you guys?
We met on Tinder.
You swipe left.
You hunted me down.
Yeah.
So we both worked for Snowflake List International.
Right.
Who do fake snow winter effects for film and television. we were technicians for our company, so we would go in and make ice or snowy areas or falling snow, whatever it may be, back from way back in the day, 2004, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's where we met. You know, Oliver knew I was an actor. I knew that he wanted to make movies. And you know, we sort of had a friendship there. And we spent a month on the roof of Harrods doing falling snow, like 3 shows a day, if you like. And we were up on that roof for a solid month, talking about everything. And we'd both been through some difficult times in our lives at that point. Let's go back into 2007.
Oh yeah, 2007 or 8, I think. Along those lines,
And yeah, when we'd stay, Oliver was there for me when, you know, sort of a few years later, I needed someone where my sort of, I wouldn't go into detail, it was not business. Elements of my life fell apart, and Oliver stepped up. And of course we're collaborators in what we do, but first and foremost we're friends. I think our friendship that gets stronger over the years allows us that sure that we have when we make stuff.
Yeah.
That he knows what I'm capable of doing, my range. So we stick in between there, we're fine. And I know that he's always going to paint me in an honest way. There's never going to be, you know, the documentary. It'd be very easy to make me like a fool, like an Alan Partridge character. It's easy to do. It's, you know, to manipulate footage to make me appear that way. But I trust him, and I remember saying to you, make the film you want to make. It's not about me, my ego. Make the truth as you see it, and he did, and I'm incredibly flattered and grateful and happy that the film came out as it did.
But I think as well, what's important with our friendship was, like you said, some things are someone else's business, and we sat down at the start of the process and said, all right, we're not going to talk about this, we're not going to talk about that, but can I talk about this? And James would say, yeah, actually, that's okay, I'm okay talking about that. So then that gave me the framework to be able to say, okay, this is the area of fear, hope, or greed that we can talk about, and that gives me the basis to build the film off of, in that sense, because our friendship is but there's also information that should go past that. So I think it's important.
Definitely. And what was the process like, following him around, sort of getting everything you needed for footage-wise, or did it just kind of write itself? Or
again, the relationship I have with John means that John will do the documentation, and then I come in and fuck things up. So then I come in and say, all right, let's send James over to the snakes in the corner, or, you know, let's put James next to a wrestling ring with Nick Moran and see what happens, or let's lead them this way. It's very subtle. Like, it's not constructed, but I would go up and say, hey, James, let's go outside, get some air, have a cigarette or something, and it's whilst he's talking to Nick, and then it would naturally create these little situations. And very occasionally, then I did a similar thing with Bessie May, where I think a month after we finished filming, or 2 months after we finished filming, James, me and John got together for 2 days or a day and a half or something, and we shot like 20, 30 scenes of different things. So James auditioning for roles he's never played, James re-auditioning for roles that he has played. Loads of personal conversation stuff, and then that gave me the kind of artistic structure of the film, and the kind of blocks to mess around with stuff.
And James Payton it was an absolute banger. Yeah, everybody loved it back in 2001. I remember being told all the reports.
Come on, that was the space everything.
I remember it. 2021. I just realised why I said that. It's 2021. And everybody was saying like how it went down, and everybody loved it. But what did you guys hear from the audiences and the crowds that sort of resonated with you and sort of made you feel proud of what you'd done?
Well, I think this was one of the first festivals because we've been in. The weird thing with the film is it kind of came out at the end of 2020, but there was so much going on that it never screened in a cinema. And it took a couple of little awards, and a couple of online things, but it didn't really galvanise anything. And it wasn't until we got here then in 2021 that kind of was the push. And from here on, we had a run of maybe 6 months of festivals and awards, and it's kind of like, wow, okay, maybe what we've done really resonates. And actually, maybe this is a really nice place to say this, that I have actually in the last couple of days signed a new contract with a company in the US to take this film, the James Payton film, and distribute it via a series of online platforms. So it's going to have a pretty much, touch wood, I'm saying this maybe before it's quite happened, but it is going to have a pretty much across the board release in the US,
Nice.
which is quite a nice deal, I think, in that sense. It did TV in Australia. It actually premiered on the night of Christmas Eve, 2022, which was really nice. Fox Docos bought it for one of their launch fan films. And part of that was because it was an award-winning film and from Romford. So these things are really biotic, and like it's really important to take them as importantly as they actually are in the long run of things.
So in terms of Bessie May, like I realised that I got something out of it because I'm a little bit fascinated by that world. I think it's brilliant what they do, and it's sort of always interesting me. But why do you think audiences are resonating with James Payton, the movie James Payton, not the man?
Well, I think the way, as we said, there were a couple of things that were off limits in my personal life, but everything else was pretty much fair game. With the death of my father, I was talking about that, and the issues that I sort of faced in that personal way, and how that affected my life. And because people, what I've noticed, sort of dress up. Someone dies, they don't die, they pass away. And to me, that's helpful language. Trying to skip past. My father didn't pass away; he died. I kissed his cold, dead body goodbye. There's no, they ain't coming back from that.
No.
And rather than sort of hand to say, oh, they're there, it's all right. They just gone to the next room or anything like that. I think we try to be honest about what the reality of losing someone, losing a parent, a child.
Yeah.
Is a childhood trauma that actually stays with you.
It's galvanized.
And the reality is, we shot for a year, or over the course of the year, and you forget that John is there shooting. You forget that actually he's still John back as well.
Amazing. I left John. I can't remember. I think it was Manchester. And John went up to film the guys in Manchester, and I'm going through the edit of it. And James has got a radio mic on, and John is filming getting into a taxi. You see the taxi drive off. I think we just hey, his manager say, "Oh shit, John!"
Yeah,
There's this amazing like that.
So all the stuff like the stuff you see Darth Vader behind you, right, sort of pottering about. I had no idea. A lot of these things, happy accidents happen because of the unusual world.
Yeah.
Because I was cast in creation stories at the time.
Yeah.
Again, a happy accident. And it was sort of, this is very much certainly a reality of what it was like in 2019 for me as a jobbing actor, going from thing to thing, trying to make a mark.
It's kind of the side of the industry you don't necessarily get to see. Like everybody sees the big name on the poster and all that, but you don't really see the guys.
You don't. I always liken it to the theory of the third man through the door.
Yeah.
So you have the lead, you have the lead's love interest or partner or whatever it is. Then you have that other guy, the third man through the door. And you never really learn about that person. But to me, it's they have a full interesting life, theoretically, that character. So it's sort of that sort of theory of what is it, people make assumptions about you if you're an actor and you've done a couple of things. They assume that you've got all the money in the world. They assume that you go from job to job, that you don't struggle, that you own everything you possibly need to own. The reality is that 99% of actors who are working actors are, guest stars on TV shows or take turns in a movie, and money isn't what you think it is.
Yeah, there was actually a gentleman who is a very established distributor, producer, who caught this film maybe 2 years ago, and he's so instrumental in what we're talking about in America now, who recently said to me that he's I'm going to get it wrong, but he's not young, let's say, so I'm going to say 70s. Shit. Hopefully he's not watching. And he said in his time he's never seen such an accurate portrayal of acting and the actual hard work and the dedication that it takes to go through that cycle in a certain level for the enjoyment and love of it. And that was immensely flattering, and it's been really nice to have his support through this process as well. So
I do sort of going back to that. I think anybody who is involved in any sort of creative process, be it writing, directing, editing, or painting, or whatever it may be, anything, to last any length of time, to do it for 20 years, 30 years, do it for however long, you have to have a core of steel, because you will be rejected more times in a year than most people are in their entire lives. So, even though we put ourselves out there and make ourselves vulnerable, the work goes out there and it stops being ours and it becomes what people make of it.
Yeah.
You have to be just turning off yourself to just keep going, Jim. That's what you have to do. And he was absolutely right. And you can spend your entire life trying to get casting directors, trying to be seen and never get anywhere. But I sort of think at the end, I've got further than I thought I would, sort of in all honesty. But the reality is, do you want to spend your entire life trying and failing? Or do you want to spend your entire life not trying? I think trying in whatever capacity, whatever it is that you want to do in the world, trying. Because the reality is the pathway to success is paved with failure. And trying and not succeeding isn't failing.
No.
To me. It's a life well lived.
Yeah, and I had to just chuckle because Spencer, when he brought us in here, said, "Oh yeah, go on, sit with Kev, and you can have banter and fun." And
here we
are. So funny, and
here we are.
We're up here talking about death and failure. And on that note, actually, what I did want to say was, I did allude to this. I think I'm comfortable talking about it, so I'm going to talk about it. But I have had a battle with my own personal mental health over the last couple of years, and it's been something that I never really understood or really saw coming. And when it fell apart, it was the worst situation I've ever experienced in my life. What you just said about keeping going through that failure was also the same thing that took me through that battle. And I think the reality was there were times that it was like, wow, this is crisis. This is like terrible. And the only thing that kept pulling me back was every time I would think I'd failed again or I'd let myself down again, something else had become worse. Things had got layered to the point I couldn't repair them. Every time I thought that, it was like, no, just fight a little bit back. And that tiny little calm of being able to take something, just make, in the end, you can build a point. This is the first public thing. I had a photo exhibition recently, which was very contained, very nice, and worked very well. But this is the first time I've been comfortable sitting publicly for a period of time. And I think it's really worth taking stock of that and saying you can rebuild that. You can come back from the failure.
Absolutely.
And you can sit somewhere and say, it's okay. Like you can repair that. Not everything is repaired, but enough is repaired. You can start to build things again.
It's two short parts.
Yeah.
The dark side, the dark times pass, the good times pass. Nothing is. People have this search for happiness, but that's not what they're searching for. They're searching for contentment.
Yeah.
And it's a very different thing. You know, happiness is here, sadness is here. You want to be. It's okay. It's good.
Yeah.
We talk about it of trying to get there. Sometimes it is one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time. That's what it takes. Because every tough time you've been through in your entire life, through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing, that if you can actually sit and say, "Whoa, what the fuck?" It's actually, okay. I have no idea how, but I'm still here. I'm still going. All right.
Yeah, and if you keep a sense of humor about the whole thing.
Yeah, that's also valid.
Just adding that sort of levity to the darkness of it. If you can sometimes sort of catch yourself going, well, this is entirely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Is this the point where we should start making cult jokes?
So talking about the rebuild and the moving forward, James Payton 2.
Potentially, yeah. I think maybe there's a way. We almost started it a couple of months ago. There was almost like, okay, let's do this, and we're just going to get the pieces back into place. And I think it will happen. It will just be a point of, okay, everything, like James is in the right place, John's in the right place, I'm in the right place, and it will happen.
Yeah, it's sort of, I think, the move, who is James Payton is exactly what I was in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4 years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, that's not who I am. No, my life is changed.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, professionally, I'm in a different space.
Yeah.
And who's to say I may not go back to where I was? Because you never know. I can never forget. I'm working to that. But you know what I mean?
I'm with you.
It will be interesting to revisit and see the difference.
I think
difference.
Totally. And with being a filmmaker, there is a vast difference as well in the way I would approach that film now, I think. And at the same way, we've changed the camera for shooting it since that point. So, we'd shot at a certain level with Blackmagic 4K at that point. And now we're shooting on pros, so the quality of the image will change drastically as well. So I think,
sort of like a visual progression as well as
physical, I think we always talked about the trilogy, actually, didn't we? In some ways, and I think it will materialise over the things. And the other thing is, I've started to throw the idea of the script around for myself and for James as well, but maybe I'll take the move back into fiction that I've been thinking about for a while. And because the documentaries do border on that kind of constructed environment. So but potentially that could happen as well at some point.
Well, guys, we'll start wrapping this up. But no, you haven't.
You talk more.
Probably me.
You did not talk.
That was the whole point. That was the whole point. But again, thank you so much for bringing James Payton to us in 2021 and bringing him today, and Bessie May letting us show these movies up on the screen and submit, because it's always good.
It's a real pleasure to be back here again, and the event is run by such good people with a genuine passion for film, and that's why it's really nice to come here.
Absolutely, it's nice to be out of my box.
Let
Let me out of the box.
Oh, yeah, well-
get back into them.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
Back on shelf.
It's over.
Yeah.
I think we got through it without making a Rolf Harris joke.
Can you tell what it is yet?
Have you got a good?
You just did it.
Oh,
It's not very
we've
good.
got to have a better one than that. Come on.
Sorry.
Oh, then, no.
Well,
Right. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. But again, guys, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for being here, and thank you for letting us see the movie on the big screen.
privilege.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we have like 3 people watching?
I have no